soon as I look up and see on the screen, the very first thing I notice is in the chat, James Alexander simply saying, no. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast. Welcome back from the weekend as we come to you from the Xfinity Lounge. Our show is presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY and Ford. Visit your local Ford store. With Derek Kyle, I'm Devon Bree, as the president of basketball operations. We are yet another week closer to the start of Media Day and training camp for the Philadelphia 76ers. And we started off, as always, with the Mailbag Monday here on September 8th. A ton to get to. We'll get into quite a few things a little bit later on. Quentin Grimes, our Mailbag Monday. But we do have to start off with some things that first, before we get to the big story, which is Ben Simmons. And boy, this is great to have Kyle talk about Ben Simmons here on this Monday.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. Let's tell you about one thing first as we kick off the top of the show, and that is it's the month of giving for Big Brothers Big Sisters. We started last week. We discussed it last week every day, and it was great to see everybody's interaction. Last week, we focused on the donations, which we still have a goal to reach of $50,000, and we would love for you to do so for the month of September, helping us to reach that goal. This week, though, we'd like to talk about signing up to become a big. And Big Brothers Big Sisters mentor movement has persisted for more than 120 years. During that Big Brothers Big Sisters month that we're talking about here in September, we celebrate matches at every stage over the course from the great program that they have running. Joining the mentorship movement this month and helping us create more moments of impact that will last a lifetime for these young children. Big Brothers Big Sisters has been a significant thought leader in mentorship and continues to evolve in its impact and significance. And with 20 million Big Brothers Big Sisters alumni worldwide, their stories make up the foundation of the impact and longevity that BBBS has. Join us in celebrating the stories that have shaped the history and will continue to do so and inspire everyone through tomorrow and further. That 120 years of mentorship, a lifetime of impact, this Big Brothers Big Sisters month, celebrating over a century of connection and youth empowerment. What started as a little movement, 1904, has evolved into a big transformation of mentorship. So 120 years later, here we are. We're still taking donations, $50,000 we're asking to raise by the end of the month. We're at 2,726 as I look at my screen right now on my YouTube page. So if you're like me, all of us on our YouTube page, check it out. Scroll down. You'll see the Donate Now option for you to do so, but you can also go check out Big Brothers Big Sisters by going on the website. If you need to connect from our website, that's allphly.com, would direct you right over to Big Brothers Big Sisters. And when you do so, check it out. Read everything in detail to see if you would like to sign up to become a big. It goes a long way. And again, 120 years is fantastic. So please go sign up to become a big right now. All right, let's get to it as we lay that out there at the top of the show. Always great to talk about how important it is to help out the youth and to look out for people. We do have to talk about some basketball too, because this is the basketball show. And with it, I got to start off with Kyle on this one. Derek and I talked about it last Thursday. We discussed it at the second half of the show. But Kyle, we were just simply talking about the possible retirement stories that were coming out. Stephen Bondi from New York was talking about it. Some others mentioned how he may not retire. He may wait. I think it was Brian Windhorst talking to an Australian television show saying he may not retire, but he might wait until the middle of the season to see if some better opportunities present themselves. Maybe some roster spots open up, injuries take place. You have to fill that spot. But in this case, we're seeing some different things. Marc Stein, our friend from DLLS Mavs, and of course the Substack, Marc Stein's Substack with our good friend Jake Fisher as well. What was mentioned is, number one, Marc Stein saying that there have been multiple offers out there, including the New York Knicks, who we've talked about with the Cleveland Cavaliers, where the Knicks did offer a spot, one-year deal, a veteran minimum, did not take it. Our friend Jake Fisher speaking about him being offered the spot, multiple opportunities, and him just simply just not wanting to work in these places.
Oh,
and
interesting.
There you go. Ben Simmons, after he reportedly showed interest in the Ben Simmons after he was brought up by the Knicks last season, and where we are right now, his mind has not changed on what he believes he should have. So I got to throw it to you first, Kyle, on this one. Ben Simmons. Is it the return of Ben Simmons? Is it intriguing for you at all? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, we talked about when they signed Dominic Barlow to a two-way deal earlier this summer. Like, they're going to need someone to really push him for that final two-way spot on the roster, right? Guy who's 21 years old, who's a live body athletically, maybe can rebound, maybe can finish, maybe can defend a little bit. You don't want a guy like that who's on the fringe of the league feeling that he's got that two-way spot locked down coming into the year. So you get someone like a Ben Simmons in on an Exhibit 10 deal, maybe let him work in the G League a little bit and see how he's doing. And then if he starts putting up numbers for the Blue Coats against, all the who's who of the G League in November and December, then maybe you can start looking at that two-way spot and saying, hey, Dominic Barlow, if you're not producing, if you're not putting up numbers, you got somebody breathing down your neck down there in Wilmington, Delaware that you have to work. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about, man? And I know I'm not supposed to use that language this early in the show.
The swear jar is broken.
But come on, dude. What? Has anybody watched this guy play basketball in the last several years? Has anyone watched him play basketball for the Philadelphia 76ers or remember how his career ended? Every time there's a story about, oh, man, Ben would love to, he will give a great public-facing quote about how, I would embrace coming back to Philadelphia. And in fairness, I respect that more than the Paul George, hell nah, when you've done nothing of consequence.
Even though you literally just said hell nah about Ben coming back to Philly.
But at least Ben is he has not turned down the idea of returning to Philadelphia at some point, right? That's been something that, at least for the public, he's played up a little bit.
Yeah.
But the things that made Ben Simmons have basically all disappeared, right? And we can try to untangle that in 100 different ways. Some of that is purely about the loss of athleticism and physicality he's gone through because of the back issues, right? It's not to say he's a bad athlete now, but he went from being a top 5 to top 1% athlete.
He was explosive
in the NBA when you consider the size and the speed and the explosiveness, to a guy who's he's probably still above the median. But when he lost as much as he lost from the repeated back issues, it left him just not able to get to spots that he could get to previously. It left him a more desperate and gambling defender, which is, I think, the thing that people probably missed that have not watched him since he left the Sixers, right? He just started fouling way more. There are a lot of games with Brooklyn when Brooklyn was a serious team, at least at one point, where he's just reaching in and getting in foul trouble. There are games where he's got 4 and 5 fouls. Where when he was playing with the Sixers, he could defend basically the entire lineup, and he was almost never putting himself in jeopardy, right? His biggest strength as a defender, beyond the versatility, was his discipline, because he could wall guys off. He could beat guys to spots. Most of those things have not completely disappeared, but have dwindled enough where he's nowhere close to the defender he once was. And more importantly, on the offensive side of the ball, he is just not someone who works with the way the league has shifted, and really didn't fit in the league perfectly when he was at his peak. But now that teams have a decade of evidence at this point that he is just afraid and unwilling to shoot the ball, every team plays him and his team the same way. We're going to concede all the space in the world to you. We will wall off the paint. And if you're playing off the ball, that means whoever the lead ball handler is. When people say, hey, bring him in if he's going to play power forward. So you're going to have him play off the ball and put the ball in the hands of, Maxey, McCain, Edgecombe, whoever, and just have his man sit in the paint, and you have an extra defender in the paint every time. That's a terrible plan, right? You give him the ball in his hands. We've seen what happens there. In theory, on paper, the stuff that he brings to the table the rebounding, the passing, like those are things this team could use. The size, certainly. But when you actually put it on an NBA floor and you watch what happens, it just doesn't work anymore. And it hasn't worked for a long time. He averaged less than a point per game in the playoffs during this last playoff stint. Admittedly, not exactly in a lot of minutes. The reason he's not playing a lot of minutes is because you cannot keep him on the floor because of his issues on offense. So there is a 0.0% interest for me on an NBA team. Doesn't matter what team it is. And you add on the part that you brought up, Devon, about Marc Stein reporting the Knicks offered him a contract that he turned down. You combine that with Bernie Lee no longer representing him, says to me that this guy still has a high opinion of himself. Like, oh, I shouldn't be getting a minimum contract. So he's not willing to come in on the deal that the entire league is going to offer him, to the point that they're floating the retirement stuff to try to save face. It's like his pride does not allow him to be the sort of player that I would want him to be and that a team would want him to be. So I'm out. It's the easiest no in history.
So the Sixers almost every year come into the season with only 14 players under contract. There's no actual flexibility gained by doing that, even though they will paint it as flexibility and try to get that word out. The only flexibility is it's easier to duck the tax if they need to duck the tax. So if you're telling me I have two options, I could either make it easier for Josh Harris to duck the tax, or I could watch Kyle's head explode 3 times per week. Bring back Ben. Bring back Ben.
You
Easy
have to
yes
watch
for me.
him too.
That's fine. I can deal with that.
Can
tune
you?
that out. Yep.
You cried
100%.
just as much as I did watching that last season.
But now he's the fate of the Sixers in his hands. I don't care. It's a 15th roster spot. Bring him back. Heck yeah.
You say that until Nick Nurse will play him.
That's fine.
He will play him. No, it's not.
It is. From my perspective, that's fine. I will make that trade-off.
You'll make the trade-off of the team being bad for what? What is the upside?
There isn't going to play him that much. There's no doubt.
How
in my
much did he
mind.
play Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson?
Not much at the end of the season.
But we're not talking about the end of the season. We're talking about the beginning of the season.
I don't think he's
and the
actually
middle of the season.
I don't think he's actually getting significant playing time. I don't think Nick Nurse would. He doesn't have that shared history that he does with Kyle Lowry. He doesn't have that trust in him.
All right.
I would love to live in your fantasy world.
Bring
where
back Ben.
A former all-star who's still 20, how old is he now?
29.
29, he won't be 30 till next July. A 29-year-old who he can say, hey, Ben's a former all-star, where he can look really smart if he has even like a single good game. He will play him.
When was the last time he had a good game?
He will play him.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that risk.
All right. So
Here's why. What has Nick Nurse done for you to not be worried about
What
that
has
risk?
Ben Simmons done that any coach has trusted him
He
in the last
played
3 years?
51 games last year.
He was playing, 10 minutes a game?
51 games.
10 minutes a game?
22 minutes a game.
No.
Wrong. That's more than double. What are you talking about? He would absolutely play him. We're talking about Trendon Watford, who was on the team with Ben Simmons. You don't think that they would play Ben Simmons over Trendon Watford at points throughout the season?
Not worried about it.
Dude. Face reality. You either sign him and you play him, or you don't, and I never have to think about him
You're
again.
telling me to face reality. You're not even facing the reality of this conversation.
I'm facing
just
the
trying
reality.
to make your blood pressure
I'm
increase.
facing the reality. Your blood pressure is worse than mine anyway, so don't worry about that. 22 minutes a game last year. 22 minutes a game. On the same team with Trendon Watford.
Yeah, so I'm with Derek on this one. I don't think he'd be forced to play him just because they signed him, because it's a totally different situation where Brooklyn wasn't trying to win or do anything. Jordy Fernandez was just trying to roll out there and see what different lineups look like. And here where I would agree with you is they have a power forward problem that we've talked about all summer long.
You're just
And
inviting it to happen.
If he's a power forward and they see something there and they're like, all right, let's throw him out there. Yes, but I lean more towards Derek in the case of there's no unless Nick Nurse looks at it and thinks that, and if he thinks this, he should just walk away right now. I have to save my job. Let me play Ben Simmons. Then that's a big problem. But I don't think it's that because of the history with Kyle Lowry, the injuries that were there when they had to play Reggie Jackson. Other than that, I don't see where he would be forced to play Ben Simmons over Trendon Watford in that case. I'm not even thinking about Barlow and Walker, just the Trendon Watford piece. That's why I lean Derek. I think they'll give Watford the opportunity, and I don't think they will go with Ben Simmons. I don't think he doesn't have any reason to call Ben Simmons.
How long did
number.
Andre Drummond play last year past the point that he should have?
Yeah, but they signed him to a 2-year contract with real money.
That's former All-Star Andre Drummond,
but it was
still in
money.
the prime years of his life.
It was real money, and they didn't have faith in Dembona as a second-round pick, so they're throwing this guy out there, and Joel is not playing.
I don't know how many
but look,
guys who are name players need to play over better players before people come to grips with the coach will play the name guy.
What if you put him at center and you surround him with shooters?
You're not getting me with that fucking bullshit. Get out of here.
Here's Ben's numbers since he left Philadelphia. So we know his numbers: 16 points a game, 8 and 8 rebounds and assists when he was with the Sixers, and we know Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-Star, All-NBA. We did all that stuff last week. You know how good he was when he was with the Sixers. When it comes to Brooklyn, 3 years in Brooklyn, he played 90 games, 69 of which he started, 25 minutes a game on average with the Nets, 6 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 steal per night for the Brooklyn Nets, and 2.4 turnovers as a guy who did not have the ball in his hands as a point guard with the Brooklyn Nets. As Kyle mentioned, when he first got there, it was the Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant team. Year 2, it was led by, that was basically Kale's team at that point when they made it to the playoffs. But Ben Simmons never played. And then that final year with Brooklyn in 24-25, before he got traded, he played 51 games, started 24, averaged 5 and 6 for the Nets. And when he got to the Clippers, he played 18 games, didn't start any, 3 points, 3 boards, and 3 assists for the Los Angeles Clippers.
I mean, but aside from that,
and then
how
the
was
playoff
the play,
numbers
Mrs. Lincoln?
that Kyle laid out there too of what he didn't do. Ty Lue just couldn't trust him to be out there in the playoffs for an extended period of time. So this is the problem with Ben Simmons.
It's Mo Cheeks' birthday today. I would bring back Mo Cheeks before I brought back Ben Simmons.
Here's the good news. I think Ben Simmons would rather play Call of Duty than play in the NBA under a minimum salary contract.
I think I agree with you.
I think Daryl Morey would rather cut off his leg than hard cap himself to sign Ben Simmons with a non-taxpayer mid-level. So I don't think we have to worry about any of this.
I agree with you on the second one. I don't think I agree with the first one. I think this retirement thing is a misnomer. I think it's actually the worst combination of factors. I think he wants to play in the NBA, but he wants the status of being paid more money.
Yeah.
And so all these things are like, why would you ever want this guy on a team that has any desire to win basketball games? There's nothing about this guy's actions or behavior that says you should put him on a roster. Nothing. Zero.
This is what has gotten him into the trouble his entire career. Despite the fact that he did all those things and the accolades that came to him here in Philadelphia, part of the problem with Ben Simmons, which we are seeing again now in this spot, is that he has had this opinion about himself, which he should have had early on with some changes of growth and showing some maturity with his basketball game. But like we always say, players are the last ones to recognize certain things. You cannot tell me, though, that he does not know. He knows exactly where he is, but because of his pride and his ego, he can't accept the fact that he is only going to be offered. Not just the Knicks, it's with all those other teams. They're only going to offer him the minimum at this stage of his career because of what he hasn't done over these last few years. Then with the back injury and all, there's no team in their right mind that should offer him more than that league minimum as a vet to give him an opportunity to show that he belongs on the team and then earn the minutes to be on the team at any position. And he is not going to have the ball in his hands as a point guard. Those days are over. That's been his problem his entire career. He was able to overcome it early because he was healthy. He was super athletic. He could handle the ball and lead a team and do all those things. Those days are gone, man. He has to realize it. Unless he's going to retire, this is going to be what comes up next to his name every time any city that does a show about their team, they're going to bring it up in this capacity because he will not allow himself to understand that he is not getting that contract that he thinks he's deserving of.
You know what?
Those days are over.
You know what the funniest part about in the chat, there are a bunch of people like, Ben needs to retire and go play Call of Duty. Do you guys understand? He got kicked out of the gaming clan he was in. That's how big of a loser this guy is. He couldn't even hack it in FaZe Clan, man. You want him on the 76ers? No, thank you. I'm out. This is a Shark Tank episode where the person is mid-pitch and I'm Mark Cuban or Damon or Mr. Wonderful. I'm out while they're mid-sentence. I don't need to hear the proposal. I don't need to see your financials. I'm out. I don't trust you. I don't believe in you. I think you're a loser. Get off my basketball team, or stay off my basketball team would be more the approach here.
The president of basketball operations of this show posted a poll on our YouTube chat here. Make sure you go vote. Let us know what you think. Team Ben, ? Bring back Ben, or hell no. Cast your vote. We'll give you the final results.
If you're on Bring Back Ben
show.
And you're in the supporters club, we should be able to brand you with a scarlet letter so I know for the rest of the time who you stinking people are.
All right, when we come back, we will continue with this conversation. We'll talk about Ben. We'll talk about a current Sixer. Yes, he's still a current Sixer, with a bit of a subliminal message maybe that he put out there. We'll talk about that when we get back. Mailbag questions a little bit later. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast here, live from the Xfinity Lounge right here on the show.
Guys, if you ever head on over to a friend's house, you're ready to watch a big game, you get there and their setup is a total mess. I was actually at my brother's place watching a little football on Sunday. I ended up watching the games on my phone because his setup sucked so bad. He claimed he was a big fan, but you feel like you've been tricked. So if you call yourself a basketball fan, you have to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination, and I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way that you watch, it's next level. I've got all the action right in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear that it feels like I'm in the arena. Sometimes I've got 4 games going on once because we're all trying to keep up with the league as we do our job. On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. Next game, make sure that a big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
And if you want a reliable vehicle instead of a 6'10" guy who refuses to shoot the ball, boy, do I have a brand to tell you about. That's the Ford Explorer, America's all-time best-selling SUV, a legacy of family trust and performance. 3-row seating for up to 7 passengers. It's great for families and road trips. I can speak from experience on that one. I've told listeners before, my mom had a Ford Explorer growing up, so we went to the mountains, the beach to see relatives, friends, whoever it might be, going to an amusement park and packing a lunch for the day, going all the way out to Cedar Point, Ohio, going to Dorney Park, going all over the place. The Ford Explorer was the home for a lot of different childhood memories for me. It could be that for you too. Maybe you're more interested in the actual car features though. The 2.3-liter EcoBoost i4 engine delivers power with efficiency at up to 300 horsepower. It's also available in a 3-liter EcoBoost V6. You can get 400 horsepower. That comes with an ST trim. The hybrid model offers up to 500 miles of driving range, a great balance of power and economy. You get available Sync 4 infotainment system with a large touchscreen and voice command. You love that voice command because if you're shouting at kids or rowdy people in the back, you can still make sure you got the right tunes on.
We're not there yet.
You
Stop
got the maps going, whatever you might need. Up to 87.8 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats folded down. So you kick everybody out and you need to haul some stuff. Maybe you're moving. Maybe you got a project. You got to go to a home improvement store to pick up supplies. All of that can fit inside your Ford Explorer. The rear seat passengers also get available captain's chairs for extra comfort and accessibility. It's built for families, but ready for adventure, a true do-it-all SUV. For more information, visit your local Ford store.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast here on this Monday, a Mailbag Monday that was hijacked by Ben Simmons and the fact that he just won't accept that he's a veteran minimum guy. You see a lot of raise the cat in the chat there. Raise the cat. Like it was back when, Simmons in the game was here. Yeah, all the good times. Before we get to the next part of our show here, we got to tell you about our new, Kyle brought it up already, so I said, you know what?
Supporters Club,
Let's
baby.
do this after the break, the Supporters Club, everybody. And you say, what is the Supporters Club? Well, it's you supporting us. Yes, we're launching the Supporters Club for people to support PHLY directly. Sign up on our YouTube channel, the page for $5 a month. You get a badge next to your name in the live chat and comments as well. We see some already.
I can see Futz
in the chat. Right.
Chat has the green text and the little badge next there. Thank you to Futz for the support.
So the badges that Kyle's mentioning update over time based on how long you've been a member. Month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, etc. It's all right there. A literal, right, Derek, badge of honor as part of our show. So join now to become one of the first with the long tenure badges, access custom emojis to use in the chat and comments. And I think we have one already for our show. There's a lot of football emojis out there right now for the badges for the PHLY Eagles show. But once ours starts to get going, we'll get some more. We have one. I already know what it is, but you have to sign up, become a Supporters Club member to see what that is. We start with the 4 emojis, unlock more as more members join. Fans can pitch emoji ideas based on the show as well. The bits, phrases, inside jokes that have fun with us here on the show. Join the Hall of Fame tier for $15 a month to unlock bonus content. That includes behind-the-scenes vlogs, experimental content. We did ours last week. We were the first. We were like the experiment. We dropped ours last week. If you want to know what it is,
look at that.
Go
I
sign
just
up.
became a member in the middle of the show.
There you go. Just go sign up.
It's that easy.
It's very easy. Kyle did it. Multitasking here during the show. Go sign up. Be part of the Supporters Club. We can't wait to see you all there with those specific badges and those emojis right there in the chat.
By the way, I wanted to circle back on the FaZe clan for a second because I wanted to see if you guys could guess. Ben Simmons actually invested in the FaZe clan in, I believe it was 2021. At the time, they were worth $240 million. This is February 2021. They were sold for how much?
You said 240?
$240 million. How much do you think they were acquired for?
I have no concept.
2 years later.
I was about to ask when. 2 years later?
80 million.
100 million.
16 million.
Okay.
Jeez.
If you want someone to tank your brand, you got the guy.
Man, grab a rebound, push and transition, dish it to McCain, who's flying down on the wing.
Like
it would
that?
be perfect.
I can already hear game 2, and Kyle's like, get this guy off this basketball team, and that will be part of our post-game show as that happened. All right, this particular guy,
Kyle
though,
Neubeck head exploding moment of the night.
you know it exactly. This particular guy, he's technically still a part of the team. He just hasn't made a decision on for how long he wants to be a part of the team. And
This
Derek,
guy do want on the team, so
Derek, he posted this. It's probably about an hour or so now on his Instagram, and that is Quentin Grimes. Q.Grimes on Instagram posted this, and this alone on his Instagram story. Is he trying to tell us something as we get closer to media day and training camp and Abu Dhabi games? Is he trying to tell us something, or is he just messing with everyone?
I mean, I'm not going to tell you he is trying to tell you something, but I'm certainly not going to dismiss it either. Like, Quentin seems like the kind of guy who's pretty deliberate about stuff like this.
I agree.
So I don't think he would, after months of like radio silence, I don't think he would randomly post this if there wasn't something behind it. I'm not telling you it's imminent. I don't even know what it means. It could be accepting a qualifying offer. It could be a deal getting closed. I don't know for sure. But like I said, I would not just dismiss it. I think Quentin, for the most part, is pretty deliberate. Also, I'm sort of bolstered by the fact that like we're just running out of time. Like,
he has to make a
it
decision.
has to be soon. It has to.
When is the decision?
October 1st.
October 1st.
Okay.
The one thing I know that Quentin and I are alike on, I'm a deadline-driven decision maker. So as are most people, frankly. When it comes down to it, most people need the pressure of like, hey, I need to hear by. The best way to find that out is to send out wedding RSVPs or like event RSVPs and be like, man, there's a few weeks to go and there's still a lot of outstandings. And then the 4 or 5 days right before deadline, it's like, all right, it's time. We're sending it in.
The new Becks are in.
The new Becks are finally in. Yeah. So I'm not going to go overboard on But yeah, I think the point Derek made about we're just getting closer to the time, and I don't think Quentin Grimes wants to like cost himself money pushing this into the season or even past training camp and media day and whatnot. And it is really unique that we have still 3 outstandings. Obviously, the Cam Thomas decision was made, but to have these 3 big outstanding situations with less than a month to go and on the deadline on the qualifying offer is, I don't want to say unprecedented, but it does not happen like this very often. So I'm hoping that this is Quentin Grimes planting the seed. They're like, all right, I'm coming back to Philadelphia. I'm going to sit down with Daryl Morey. My agent's going to talk with Daryl Morey, and we'll hash something out. Even if it's the qualifying offer, which I do think is a bad outcome for the Sixers potentially, just keeping them on the team and starting off media day camp every preseason on the right foot, everyone in the boat, is definitely the preferred option.
And look, he didn't have to be working out with the guys in the summer in different parts of the country, specifically Texas. He didn't have to be. But what he needs to do is make sure that he starts off with the training camp with this team. Yes, he played a bunch of games after he was acquired via that trade. He was a big winner in that, depending on what we see with that final contract and retaining him, here with the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm curious to see what it looks like with the full training camp. We've all really wanted to see what it looks like with no McCain and no Edgecombe a season ago. He only played with Tyrese Maxey as far as the backcourt is concerned. So it's important for him to get those reps in with them once training camp starts. They're going to have a quick turnaround with preseason games on October 2nd and October 4th in Abu Dhabi against the New York Knicks. Yeah. You want to see him out there on the floor. While those are not meaningful, it's important for the chemistry, as we've talked about, getting that cohesion that they need out there on the floor. What we saw, Derek, we saw so much last year. It was just what is happening out there. But when you have your 4 main backcourt players available to start training camp and then for those preseason games, where I would expect Tyrese Maxey to play some just because of the location of where they will be, how the NBA is pushing these games, and we doubt that Joel Embiid is going to be in those. One of the stars is going to play. So he's going to have an opportunity to be out there with the other 3, and that's where I want to see him make sure he gets this locked in before training camp. It would have been fun for us, for him to sign in August so we can have something to talk about. But the important piece is for him to be ready for the start of training camp.
We still need something to talk about, so Quentin, we'll take it, man. We'll take it.
But look, he's done this all summer, where he would post these every now and then in a Sixers uniform. He's not going to post himself in a Pistons or a Mavericks or a Knicks uniform. He's going to post him working out in the gym, getting his individual workout with the trainer in. He's going to post some of these from last season because he played for the Sixers, and he's still technically under contract with them. But yes, as we get closer, he's got 3 weeks to make a decision and get it done. He's sending a message here that, I'm still here. I got you hanging. Everybody's hanging hanging on my last word of what's going to happen. And of course he's sending this one, and he's deliberate. He knows what he's doing. He knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a part of him that probably enjoys being the center of Sixers' attention.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because once he's in.
And that's his right.
That's fine.
You're a restricted free agent. You can't go out there and just get, whatever you want and go wherever you want.
First thing, though, when we sit down with him on media day is, Quentin, you had us waiting, huh, man?
What the heck was happening there, buddy?
Had us waiting, didn't you?
Why'd you take so long?
But Jake Fisher, again, I brought him up a little bit earlier. Jake did have something where he was talking about there was some real interest and consideration, especially after the Cam Thomas decision with the Brooklyn Nets, of would he now go in that direction, seeing how things went. We discussed it last week. While it may not be in his best interest because of the situations being totally different, but still a possibility that he decides to make that his decision of accepting the qualifying offer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to figure out how much Quentin Grimes will look at Cam Thomas and be like, I need to either do or do not on that path, right? I don't know how much he compares himself to that. I think it would have helped, honestly, if there was a bar set for one of these restricted free agents. the first guy being off the board, taking the qualifying offer, just kind of leaves everybody like, well, we're just negotiating against nothing this offseason. I don't know, man. We'll see.
It'll be interesting what Giddey, because Giddey's the one who, like, I think there's no chance he takes a qualifying offer. Like, they will offer him a very sizable contract. It might not be the one he wants, but it's going to be big. And I'm curious how that will impact Quentin's mindset if he's not at the point where they've already come to a deal. Because I think there are a number of reasons why Chicago would overpay Giddey that don't necessarily translate to the Sixers. Like, there's just not the positional overlap that Giddey has. They're more invested in Giddey. There's a sunk cost of the trade. There's the fact that Chicago's front office makes a lot of mistakes, and that's maybe as politely as I can put that. So that you could see Giddey end up getting overpaid, and then that maybe, emboldening Grimes a little bit when it's not really all that translatable. We did a show last week where I still think, maybe Grimes is thinking about this qualifying offer. I think that would be a massive miscalculation.
And in Giddey's case too, he had a pretty strong close to the year, and he had for whatever you think about his archetype, right? Like I'm out on that general type of player unless he really takes a step forward as a shooter. He's been a across the board productive player for 4 straight years in different contexts at this point. And I just think based on, they prioritized him so much in that Caruso trade that they didn't get any draft capital back. I think they're invested enough in him that it won't get there, but I wouldn't have guessed that his situation would play out until we're almost in mid-September at this point. So that one, Kuminga, everyone sort of knew around the league that was going to be the big flashpoint because he thinks very highly of himself and certainly has had flashes, and the Warriors are benching him in playoff games. So that was always going to be a tricky one to sort through. And it was also a tough summer for cap space, right? So I wasn't expecting every one of these guys to be lingering in free agency this long, but I guess it's just the natural side effect of that.
We still wait. Find out
as the world turns
around Quentin Grimes. All right, folks, our final break here, and then we get to some mailbag questions on the Mailbag Monday. Hijacked by Ben Simmons, a little bit of Quentin Grimes before the show.
Hijacked just like the Sixers were by that thief.
That thief. Now, we focus on you and your questions. We'll do so on the other side right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by I'll Tell You on the Other Side.
Bring back Ben.
Ben might be visiting Rothman. Rothman Orthopedics. We've all been there. Yes, those aches and pains. Ben has a recurring back issue. I don't know. Maybe he has to call them for an second opinion. I don't know. Well, if you are having some issues, you need to get checked out. The summer just, wore you down, and you need to get some of those things looked at that you were ignoring because you did not want to interrupt your vacation and your fantastic summer that you had going on. Well, Rothman Orthopedics is the place for you. I was doing some cleaning, Derek, and I was looking through some stuff, and I have a bin of just stuff that I needed to work out post-surgery, my DonJoy knee brace, this other brace that I had for something else. The crutches were in the closet. That was all given to me by Rothman Orthopedics after my ACL and my Achilles. And so maybe yours is not as serious as mine. It's something just, those aches and pains, those things that you ignored, and you need to finally take care of them. Rothman is there for you. Rothman has, just done everything for so many people over the course of the years. When we talk about a long time and we talk about a long, long time, they've done it for over 50 years. Rothman has participated in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefit of their patients, whether it's from knee, hip, shoulder, ankle replacements over in the country of over 60,000. Rothman Orthopedics has done that. I'm speaking of some of the things that I've had, from the x-rays, orthotics and bracings, MRIs that were needed, PT, and much more. Rothman took care of me, and they can do the same for you. So if pain is slowing you down as we start off this fall season, take the first step. Head to rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and schedule your appointment today. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, their mission. Also, I have to tell you about our good friends at Parx Casino. And look, I knew about this, but I totally forgot that Rothman at Parx Casino, the Excite Center. So I was
going to say that would be a hell of a collaboration.
Yes, it would be. And Parx Casino, I saw this and I said, I know one person who's going to be there as long as they're not working. It's going to be Jalen Hurts. Why? Because the act that's going to be there, Dionne Warwick, is going to be at Park Casino. He loves his old school music and all. Dionne Warwick's going to be at the Excite Center at Parks Casino on November 14th, and so could you. Maybe you'll run into Jalen Hurts at the spot. Well, here's what you get. It's a great, great venue. It's a great, great place to be at the Excite Center, at the #1 casino in the area. It's easy to get to in Bensalem. Take the Street Road exit off of I-95 and the PA Turnpike. It's the state-of-the-art entertainment venue located inside Parks Casino, named one of the best places to see the country's best comedians and music headliners. I said it, Dionne Warwick is going to be there. She's fantastic on Twitter, too. I didn't know she was that funny. You got to go check her out. Visit parkscasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Pre-game the shows at the amazing Beer Garden, which is great. It's right outside the sports book. And while you're in there in the sports book, place a bet for football, baseball, whatever you have, whatever you want to do. Play some pop culture slots, roulette cards, and other table games you love while you wait. That's Parks Casino. This is how you win. Go see Dionne Warwick November 14th. You must be 21 and over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to the show. Let's get to the mailbag questions here, Bree. Let's start it off. The mailbag questions on this Monday, back from the weekend. Hope everybody had a great weekend. The first mailbag question that we have coming in here is from placeholder name editor. Please add. Let's go. Training camp is soon. Which non-VJ player is going to get the most, quote, you wouldn't believe how good he is, end quote, praise like McCain got last season?
Taking VJ out really stings because he's definitely number one.
I mean, can we just include McCain?
Yeah.
For a second year in a row?
Yeah. You go there?
Yeah, I would go there both because I think he's going to be really good, but also because they just haven't seen him in a long time because he was injured.
It'll be oh my God, he's coming off an injury and he still looks amazing.
I think I would go McCain.
Who you got, Kyle?
Yeah, McCain, I think, is probably I think VJ's number one for sure. If I won't copy Derek, I'd say someone, maybe like a Dembona, right? Because we saw the progress that he made end of last season with some of the offensive stuff. He's getting important minutes, not major minutes, but important minutes at Eurobasket right now. Turkey is still playing, so he's playing meaningful basketball at a time when it's not that these guys are not working out, but they're in the gym, they're going through like pretty basic workouts, and he's playing high stakes basketball. So I think that gives him a little bit of an advantage early on. He also is just one of those players that he makes wow plays, right? So huge shot block. Lob from somebody coming down the lane to pick and roll. Like I could see him getting a little bit of training camp buzz. I think his play style just lends to that.
I'll go with Trendon Watford since we brought him up a little bit earlier.
That's
I think
a good one.
So Tyrese Maxey can say, "I told you so." When he's out there on the floor in those lineups that get a little switched off, maybe he's the first power forward. When Paul George comes off the bench, and if Paul George is not ready for training camp, I'd be very curious to see if he's with the ones to run to see what that looks like. So I'd say Trendon Watford to see what that first glimpse of what it looks like. They've had some of them, as the guys have mentioned. He's been here some when they've worked out at the facility with those open runs that the coaches can't say anything about, but they can keep an eye out there. And so there's some summer familiarity with these young players that he has there. So I'd be very curious if it's Trendon Watford that gets outside of VJ Edgecombe, Jared McCain, and the Dembona, the newcomer that comes in, and everybody's like, oh, wait till you see what it looks like with him out there pushing the fast break, maybe some of those pick and roll opportunities with a Dembona and hitting him in a roll and flashing it out to Jared McCain or one of those other shooters behind the three-point line. I go with Trendon Watford.
That's a good one, especially like the whole backstory with Maxey and all that. I think that lends itself to you hit the ground running.
See, but I think you get some of that with Jabari Walker too. If for no other reason than like rebounders tend to look really good when like team is half filled with veterans who don't really care about training camp. Like a guy who's all hustle rebounding, he's going to come in there and probably turn some heads.
Last question based off of this before we get to the next one. Who is the training camp one? Who are the training camp ones if Embiid and George are sidelined? Embiid and George are sidelined. It's Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. Are we assuming Quentin Grimes comes back to the
Let's say
team?
Grimes is back.
Okay.
Yeah. So who's the 5? If I say Trendon Watford probably gets the first nod at the 4, who are the rest out there with them for
It's
training
a good question.
All right, let's
I think
start
it's
off with
I think it's definitely Grimes.
Let's start off with the Bona Drummond debate.
I think it'll be Drummond at first because I think he's going to get the right of first refusal, essentially.
This is where I have a reaction similar to Kyle with
Yeah,
Ben
exactly.
Simmons. My head would just
I think it'll be Drummond.
All right. Drummond 5. Backcourt is set.
Watford, I guess.
Watford 4. Kelly.
God, I really hate that group.
I think Kelly's going to get the nod, though. I think Kelly's
if you're just saying day one of training camp,
Day one.
yes. I think by the end of training camp, a lot different.
Who needs shooting in 2025?
Yeah,
give me that Kelly Watford Drummond. Oh my
Maxey
God.
Grimes in the backcourt, Oubre, Watford, Drummond as your front court. Day one with Embiid and George sidelined because of various
Here's what I'll say. I am not reporting this. This is just
this is just us just spitballing today.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm saying for this specifically.
Okay.
There's been some smoke out there about, we have talked many times about the trying to salary dump Drummond during the summertime. There's been a little more of that recently on Kelly. I would say if that is out there in any capacity, that says less about their desire to just like straight up dump Kelly's contract, because you don't need to. And frankly, keeping Kelly's contract on the books is good for salary matching at the deadline if you want to, just bring somebody else in. That might say more about whatever word he has gotten from Nick Nurse management about what type of minutes or what type of role he might have this year, right? Like, because if they have an inclination that he's not going to be happy with whatever role he's going to have, whether it's starter, 6-man, deeper bench, and I don't think he would be deeper bench if he's here, but he's someone that if there was a guy that's like, he's going to grumble and he's going to be a little bit of a pain about whatever the role is, he'd be one of the main candidates. So I'm not saying that that's what has happened, but I'm keeping an eye on that because I think it could be an indicator of where all parties are at.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's get to the next question here on Mailbag Monday. Good question to start off. Rich Kotite's ghost. Wow, look at that. You're allowed to take one ex-76er legend in their prime and add them to the current roster. Who are you choosing that best fits into this squad? Like this one. Because I'm thinking right away for both of you, as much as you've talked rebounding, with somebody who rebounds the basketball factor in.
Well, so where's your head at?
Barkley.
So I think there's two answers here. If you are expecting Joel to maybe be Joel, I think it's Barkley. If you're actually saying time's up on Joel, it's Wilt.
I think it's Wilt no matter what.
Yeah. That, there is a little bit of that, right? Because if you can just say, I'm going to get one of the best players in the history of basketball, it's Wilt, right? Now, there are things about he was a terrible free throw shooter, right? Mm-hmm. That's something that I wonder if teams would be more cynical about than they were back in I can't sit here and say I watched dozens upon dozens of full Wilt Chamberlain games, right? So I don't know if the amount of free throws he shot was about, guys intentionally hacking him or anything, but I think he would get punished for that a little more would be my concern. I think it's between Chuck and Wilt though.
Yeah. If you're going to list like the top Sixers in history, the one you kind of strike out is Allen Iverson, just because they have so many other backcourt players. That's where their strength is. Defensively, won't work with Max, yada, yada, yada. It's not a dig against Iverson at all. It's just when you have your options are Allen Iverson and Wilt Chamberlain. If you can strike one off because defensively it wouldn't work, you just strike him off. I would almost go Wilt no matter what. I think even if you get a 0 from Joel, but you have Wilt Chamberlain on the team, you're going to be a title contender right there.
You're going to be really damn good.
And if you get
Iron Man, freak athlete, incredible rebounder, incredible rim protector.
Also, he'll play 48 minutes a night. Lord knows we need some of those people on this team.
Yeah.
And if Joel is healthy, okay, fine. Everyone wants to go double big. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Barkley would be
Barkley
fun,
would
though.
be fun, though.
Yeah, he
Barkley would be a heck of a lot.
Of more recent last 15 years Sixers, let me cut it down from the question. Last 15 years, is there anyone that stands out to either of you for that particular question? Last 15 years.
Well, it hasn't been as strong as 15 years.
I mean, if you could bring back Jimmy,
Okay.
Yeah.
like prime Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Prime Jimmy would be good.
How would
See, this is where it gets tough because, like,
how would prime Iguodala look after we saw him prime Golden State Iguodala in that role?
you'd
here?
love a touch more shooting. He was always a better
But
catch
he
and
would
shoot
hit
player
big shots
than I
for
think
them.
people gave him credit for. It was off the dribble stuff that it really broke down. Off the catch, he was okay. And certainly, like, as a decision maker and a versatile defender, he would fit really well.
Yeah. Would be really damn good. Those are the two main guys, I think.
Yeah, and like if you're talking Joel's healthy, then you can talk about JJ Redick again. It wouldn't really work defensively because you've got a bunch of bad guards. As I'm going through this list, I'm realizing it's been a real tough 15 years.
Yes, it has been. All right, let's move.
Who's the best wing in franchise history that was a good shooter? Because Dr. J obviously
he
the
wasn't.
best forward or
But he
forward
couldn't
wing, but he was
They
not a
didn't really
shooter.
Not a
care
great
back
shooter.
then.
Best wing? Wow. That's a really good question.
And
And like meaningful Sixer, not just
Right. Like
breezing through and
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I had to think about that one because it's not Iguodala.
Because when
either.
we do the like
There haven't been a
all-time
lot.
Sixers fives and all that, it's like they just partially because shooting wings outside of big-time outliers were not really a thing
Yeah.
until
yeah.
the last couple decades, right? Like
So
Larry
Theo-
People
Bird.
bring up like
Hersey's
Hersey
a
Hawkins.
shooting
He's a
guard.
shooting
He's
guard.
not
Yeah,
a
he's
wing.
not.
Larry Bird was a big-time outlier at the time that he was great, right? So like it's not necessarily reflective of historic Sixers. It's definitely reflective of where they failed in like the last 20 years to not have shooting wings on the team.
Yeah. All right. Let me think about that one.
Yeah, and
Tony's a pure
Theo
guard.
bring up someone like Tony would be great.
I know you
but
don't
he's
want to
not a
say
wing.
it. It
12.
might be 12.
12 is. Yeah. 12 is the guy.
I think my hot take is Covington. His first couple of years were more valuable on the basketball court than 12 ever
Because he
was.
played defense.
Because his defense was exceptional. He was a better and more willing shooter, and everything else.
Listen,
12,
I love Cov. He's
everything else
divisive,
12
but I
did
loved
wasn't
him.
actually at a helpful level.
Liam has him. Rocco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Let's go to the next question, Bree. James says, everyone is healthy and in their prime. Who wins between the 01 Sixers and the 25 Sixers? Oh, the 01 Sixers.
Everyone is healthy.
Are we saying, does that mean last year or this upcoming year?
I guess
Either
it's
way, I'm taking
upcoming.
current Sixers. If you're telling me Joel's
'Cause of
healthy, I'm
Embiid?
taking current Sixers. Yep.
Now, there's
Theo
another
was
element.
a really good damn defender.
Well, I
man.
was going to
Yeah,
say,
no, he was
there's
really good.
another element to it. Is it that Mutombo, or if we're making everyone prime, is it like then 3 years ago, 4 years before that Mutombo when he was
So
in
my question
Atlanta?
is, you taking Mutombo over Theo for this, or is it?
Well, that's the version that made it to the finals, right? So I think that's probably the one that we have to.
Yeah, but you can't ignore the first 41.
I am
where
not. Listen, we've had the Theo conversation 100
He
times.
was so
I know.
good, man.
He's
And
very good.
defending Joel, yes, Theo. I mean, Mutombo would get destroyed from that extended elbow, but when he puts the ball on the floor, I think Theo keeps his feet down and just keeps his hand up and makes a decision on
He
how
was
to.
great at waiting before going
Oh
for
my
that block.
gosh,
He was
yes, he was.
elite
Well,
at
here's
that.
another thing. Do we play with 2001 rules or 2025 rules? Because
Both.
if you can't
Let's-
send
let's do
help,
both.
if you can't send help because of illegal defense rules, that materially makes it easier for Joel, right?
Yeah.
If they can zone and scheme up the way they do now, it almost makes it easier on the 01 Sixers. So it's
But when you pull Embiid away from the basket too, who's stopping Iverson from getting there and doing Iverson stuff? Who's stopping him? He's going to get destroyed on the defensive end, but he's got Theo behind him. But who's going to stop him when Theo pulls Joel from, or Mutombo pulls him away from the basket, setting no screens and all?
Mutombo's not pulling him away from. He's just
No, but it's just
He's
the way
playing
that
a
they're
deep
gonna
drop.
It's just the way that they're gonna do it. They're gonna pull Joel away from the basket though, and just to set screens and all for Iverson to go do what Iverson does.
I think the other problem for them too is there might be, well, not under Nick Nurse, but most coaches, there would be a math problem, right?
Well-
like the 01 team would not be taking enough threes to,
there's
keep
that.
up.
But also, if everyone's healthy, out of all of those, let's say there's 10 starters. Okay, best player, second best player, Iverson, Embiid. We can debate that. Doesn't really matter. Second best player, Tyrese Maxey. Third best player, still going Paul George.
Yeah.
Fourth best player, you could convince me that Quentin Grimes would be the fourth best player. Like, I think there's just so much more depth and talent on the current roster. If your stars are healthy, then I don't think it's even
I would
close.
have a fun argument, Aaron McKee over Quentin Grimes.
I love Aaron McKee. So
I would have a good argument there.
I'm not gonna fight that one too hard. But it's the fact that it's close, that you could have the third, fourth, and fifth best players on the current team. It says something.
I think the depth in offense is where this version is ahead. And it's just like, it's not the fault of those guys, right? The league has shifted a lot. In the last 25
it's a
years.
little bit the fault of like Larry Brown overcorrecting on Allen Iverson and not putting enough shooting around him because he's going to hog the ball, so let me get defenders. I would love to see prime Iverson with some real actual spacing. That's been one of my takes for a long time.
I would love to see that defense though against this current offensive theme Sixers because that defense
Iverson in this
really
era would
good.
be awesome. Awesome.
Passing lane steals and all that.
Here's my other thing. Like, do we get to defend that 2020 or that 2001 team with like today's
that's what
knowledge?
I said. We got to do both. If you're going to do, you have to play both brands of basketball from those eras.
They're not nobody in the
NBA.
NBA.
One game of that rule. We got to go that time and this time in the current.
But it's not even like rules. Like nobody in the NBA today defends George Lynch. Like nobody defends Eric Snow. They just don't. They would run away from them so quickly.
Rodney Buford, baby. Put the sheriff back in there. He'll fire off some threes. No worries. Let's get to the next question, Bree. The sheriff, Rodney Buford. Roger Bell was on that team too.
He was.
Mr. _ RIP says, we can all agree that Nick Nurse and the staff badly underperformed last year. Were you surprised they didn't add any veteran assistants? Do you believe in their current staff to get it done? With this question, let's remind everybody that Bobby Jackson is no longer on the staff. He's in Sacramento now. Was there somebody else that
there was a I think else? Was it Kobe Carl? I think moved on.
Yes, they moved on. They moved on from him.
Yeah,
they didn't renew his contract. So right now you still have Rico Hines.
Am I getting that wrong? Is he? I thought that was the case.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. So Rico Hines is still on the staff. Who is it? Brian
Gates.
Brian Gates is still on the staff. Those are his top two.
You got people like Matt Braze.
Yeah, those guys are still there.
And a lot of the same developmental staffers. It's just a smaller staff now. So I would say I was a little surprised there wasn't like I don't want to say big name, but somebody who would come in with, whether it's offense or defense, neither were good last year. Someone with a level of expertise on either side of the ball. Maybe it just reflects that this is a coaching staff that's under the microscope. And if you bring in an outside person, then that becomes that's the obvious interim guy if things go south. So,
yeah. But by the same token, like if you fail while you're under a microscope, it's
not great.
No, I mean, look, we were very critical of them to start the season. I was very frustrated with their approach to start the season and the way that they didn't seem like they were prepared on how to play when Joel Embiid was out. Anything that happened after about turn of the new year, like it's hard to really blame them. They had a skeleton crew. But no, I don't think they're the source of the problem, but I don't think they did a good job either.
I'd be curious if there's a late add before camp. Just another coach to add to the bench because Bobby Jackson just gone, Carl just gone, and we haven't heard anything.
Prophet one with a good point. Does Kyle Lowry count?
I mean, honestly, like I would not be surprised if he acts as a pseudo assistant.
Yeah, I think that's what he is.
I would not be shocked if he's not going to wear the Coach Lowry name tag, but if we see a little bit of that throughout the season.
He won't have the quarter zip on, but he'll be dressed, but he's helping out with the coaching. All right, folks, we got to tell everybody that we are going into overtime, allphly.com. Thank you on the Fast Channel, the TV side. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. if you're watching on the Fast Channel and on YouTube here. So make sure you check us out the rest of the way. Today, Mailbag Monday, allphly.com while we argue 01-25. All right. Where's Mo Cheeks? Mo Cheeks is an assistant coach, Prophet One, with
He's
the New York
celebrating his
Knicks.
birthday is what he's doing.
Yeah, he's celebrating
Happy
his
birthday, Mo Cheeks.
And he's with the Knicks as an assistant coach currently on the staff. So they retained him, even though they made a coaching change. They retained him. He's still with the New York Knicks. All right, Bree, let's get to the next question. Since we have a few more, just run through a few more of these. Vernon Carter says, what should be the guard rotation? We've talked about this one a lot.
Maxi's going to start. Grimes is going to start.
Should start.
I think that one's, if he's back, he will start. I would be shocked if they bring him back on, even if he takes a qualifying offer. It's not that he will be more in jeopardy of losing that spot. But if you pay him $15+ million, he's going to start. So after that, it's just about combinations, right? Like I think we've talked a lot about McCain will probably be the backup point insofar as there is one, but he's going to share those duties with VJ. So I am curious about how much Maxi McCain time we get, right? If you use McCain as the backup point, that makes it, all right, he's going to play all the time when Maxi's on the bench, but how much does he get additive to that, right? And I think he should, because that's one of the fundamental roster questions that needs to be answered, right? It's like, how good can Maxi and McCain be together? You can't know unless you don't put them on the floor together.
And if we know Maxi's not going to be the first guard off the floor, he's going to stay on the floor. He has an extended run. If Grimes is out, if McCain is the man, he's going to be the first one off the bench at that guard position. Then that's where we maybe get that and see what it looks like pretty early, unless it's something else. Like you go with a wing, like Justin Edwards comes in and maybe he slots into that 2-guard role if Kelly Oubre and Paul George are still on the floor.
Or VJ.
Or
could
VJ.
Honestly be. Because, again, I know that this is not to dampen any Jared expectations or talk down on what he did last year. But I think when you use a number 3 overall pick on somebody, he is higher in the priority order than Jared McCain is, at least for right now. Now, maybe they go out there this year, you go into training camp in the first 20 games, and Jared is the same Jared he was in that 23 games last year, and you have to really look at him and say, he is just as big a priority as VJ is. But it's, when you take a guy with pick 16 versus number 3, and the expectations are different accordingly, I think the guy who is coming in as top 5 pick is going to get probably first crack at, early bench minutes. But I don't know if that's how it'll actually play out.
Yeah.
I just think philosophically, that's probably how you would do it. Now, how you sub it and how you, match all these guys up together, I'm not exactly sure.
Win Forever in the chat says, gives their 5, Maxey, Edgecombe, George, Watford, and Embiid as their starting 5 to begin the season. So we'll see how healthy George and Embiid are, and we'll see what the other 2 positions look like for the Philadelphia 76ers. And let's add a few more. We'll get one more, Embry, before we get ready to say goodbye. I see our buddy Jaden in there today. Jaden.
What's up, Jaden?
What up, Jay?
Long time no see.
Yeah, he graduated over in the spring. So he's
good for him.
Yeah.
Part of the working class again.
Yes, he
Here
is.
we go. Here with us.
Yes, he is. But ideal 6-man guy, that's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. Who's the ideal 6-man? I already see. I think it's Prophet One that said Jared is best as 6-man. So we'll see. We'll see. What you got, Bree? Is that it? Oh. Ecstatic Eagles fan.
T-Zilla.
T-Zilla. Games, what up? If you could flip one playoff series to win in this era, what would you choose? And what would the rest of the playoffs look like? Example, they beat the Hawks in 7. Do they beat the Bucks and Suns after that? That was in 2021, of course.
I think it's this is controversial. I think it's the 23 Celtics series.
You think the pathway is easier?
I think the pathway is easier.
Once they get past
I think the team is straight up better, right? Like if in 21 you beat the Hawks, and they should have beat the Hawks, I don't know that they're winning either of those series in front of them. But more importantly, I just did not really believe in that team because I didn't believe in Ben Simmons.
That's what I
to
was about
circle back to the start of
This is
the
a Simmons Harden kind of thing.
yeah, and like, look, this is not to say James Harden is like Mr. Playoffs, right? Obviously, he has his checkered history. I just think that team was better. I think they were better equipped to win 2 more playoff rounds, especially based on who they were playing, right? Like, I think they could have beaten Miami. I think they could have beat, certainly, like, talking about Denver in the finals.
Yep.
Joel versus Jokic, like all the playing in Denver stuff.
He would have had to play then.
And
he would have, yes.
Joel historically has played great individually against Jokic in those games. So that's the one for me because it also had Maxey in kind of an ideal role, right? Where you get the best of the off-ball stuff while also giving him opportunities to, hey, James is on the bench. We're going to allow you and Joel to do the 2-man game. You have DeAnthony Melton, who's kind of a Swiss Army knife. PJ Tucker doing his, just PJ Tucker stuff. James Harden, though, won them 2 playoff games in that series, or 2 second-round games basically by himself in that series.
And PJ Tucker was good enough to help win the championship 2 years before in Milwaukee. So, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have any expectation, even though they were the 1 seed, that they would win the title that year.
What do you think,
in
Derek?
2021.
I actually was going to go in the exact same way. And, part of the reason is because that path, the Heat in the conference finals it's a good opponent. It's not an insurmountable opponent.
I think they would have smashed that team.
And the Nuggets, you got Embiid playing well against Jokic, and you just got like the cinema aspect of it. Like it would have been a great series to watch as a fan. I do agree with Kyle that the stars, like the star power, fit the best in terms of offensive fit alongside of each other. And also, you just get to beat the fucking Boston Celtics, which I can now say
that was,
and
also
overtime.
like, think of the downstream effects of that, right? Like Joel is so used to just we lose to Boston, we lose to Boston, we lose to Boston. In one series, you just like
you open it all up, man.
You finally get the proverbial monkey off your back, and it's like now we're in the conference finals, and I beat the Celtics, and I'm the MVP. It's like that's the year.
Remember when Iverson and the Sixers could never beat Reggie Miller and the Pacers?
Until they did, and it got a boost of confidence.
Exactly.
Yep.
And they made that push.
No, and the other, if I was going to pick a second one, it would not be the Hawks, because I agree with Kyle. I think that team was fundamentally flawed. The Hawks series pisses me off because it just should have never happened. Not because I necessarily, that was their best chance to get out of the second round. I don't think it was their best chance to win a title.
Agreed.
My second would be the Toronto Raptors series.
Yeah.
And look, I don't necessarily think that would have been an easy, what they had the
Bucks
in the conference, and who was the
Warriors.
Warriors. So that would have been real tough. But it could have gotten that monkey off your back, giving you that shot of confidence. We talked about that shot of confidence right there in that Boston series. Well, if you get that shot of confidence when Joel Embiid is just entering his prime, maybe a couple of years plays out differently. Maybe your personnel decisions that you made that summer would have played out differently. There could have been a whole downstream effect from that. But in terms of just a straight path to a title, certainly would have picked the 2023 team.
Though,
changing
for the Warriors, you factor in those injuries. If everything is the same,
those
injuries were real.
Yeah, I do think conference finals would have been real tough. But there's also with that 19 team, I think that was a team that as you played more game and more time together, they could have gotten better and more comfortable around each other because they were put together so late in the season that the Bias trade happening in February, Jimmy happening in November. I think if you just get them more time, they could have had a better version of themselves. Because the one we saw against Toronto, A, they didn't play together a lot. B, they were legitimately readjusting their offense on the fly because of the Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler dynamic. And C, you're going up against one of the best defenses in the league and really in modern NBA. That was a tough series for them to try to figure things out. Play them out a little longer. I think they could have gotten better. So those would be my 2 answers for sure.
Sixers, Nuggets, Jokic, Embiid, finals. Those ratings would have.
Are
been
you on
fantastic.
2019 Island or what's your?
Probably 23.
Okay.
Just because
I just like beating the Celtics. That would have been such a great moment.
Because the way that they did it too, and beating them on their home floor, and B would have been healthy enough to do so. But I know we've talked about this as a conversation piece in general of certain ways that they could have won in 19 and in 21, but 23 would have certainly been the one to take down the Boston Celtics, who had, the way that as good as the Celtics were, beating that team and for it to be the Celtics, having 19 and 21, leading up to 23, for that to finally be the one that they persevered and pushed through, and then playing the Nuggets to top it off, that would have been tremendous. It just would have been great for the whole storyline, for it to all come together at the end. That would have been great.
The tough part about 2019, Derek brought up all the, they're building the team on the fly and all the things out of that. Joel just wasn't as good offensively at that point.
No.
You certainly saw that in the Toronto series. Now he was levels above defensively, right? When you look at all the plus minus splits that are insane from like that series and that playoff run, a lot of that is that they just could not score against him when he's on the floor, right? Like that was a major driving component. So I think that the lack of like offensive refinement at that stage of his career probably becomes more meaningful in the conference finals and in the finals. But the other side of it is, and I've seen it come up in the chat a little bit, and we've brought this up before, what happens with Jimmy Butler if they go another round, right? If they even get to
Just
the conference finals, right?
Yeah.
Does that put more pressure on the organization to say, look, there are all these misgivings we might have, and we can't make it work with Ben. If you get to the conference finals, even if you lose, and Ben lays another egg, but Jimmy has another, like, hey, this guy with Joel, we can go win in like the next 2 to 3 years. I wonder if that's enough to materially change people's minds and say, screw what we thought before.
And part of my reasoning for that series is like the downstream effects of them winning that series just could have been so monumental.
Yeah.
From Joel's confidence to keeping Jimmy Butler to all kinds of stuff. Would have been nice to see. Instead, we got what we got.
Since you brought it up, Kyle, with the difference being Simmons and Harden, neither of us said Harden in his prime, adding him to this current Sixers team and what that might look like.
Well, I think you had to. To choose.
I don't think I
when-
was counting it as like it was your prime had to happen on.
Well, no, only
the
because you
Sixers,
brought up
I
JJ
think.
Redick. When you brought up JJ, prime JJ, I think he was pretty much on the back end of his prime with the Sixers.
I think his 2 years with the Sixers were at the level of his prime. I don't think he was
but I don't
in
think he
his
was
physically.
in his prime.
No, but I think his level of play was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harden was damn good.
He was
So-
damn good, but he wasn't like 2018 James Harden.
No.
Okay. But that's
If you were
of
getting
years
2018 James Harden, then yes. But I took it as
So that
you're getting
version
whatever
of
their best
23
season was with the Sixers.
That's what I took it as too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I even brought up Iguodala, his best years, I mentioned prime. He was in his prime with the Golden State Warriors, and we were bringing that back here.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that has to do with changing of role.
Sure.
Like I think he could have been capable of doing that if he had really good talent around him here in Philly. He just was playing with Jody Meeks.
Shout out Jody Meeks.
Yeah, no shade to Jody Meeks, but
What was he with? The Pelicans this summer when we saw him? Was it the summer league? Jody Meeks and Greg Monroe, I think, were both with the Pelicans and their coaching staff. We were just, lounging around in the back.
I think he's an assistant with the Pelicans.
There you go. All right, that's it. All right, that'll do it for us today. We had a lot of questions. We had a lot of Ben Simmons and Quentin Grimes. Again, subliminal message on Instagram, maybe telling us something, maybe not. We'll find out. But it was still a Mailbag Monday, and it was fun. And with that, on the way out from the Xfinity Lounge, get to the world famous. It's the roll call, everybody.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for being here on a
With
very
some
lively
actual-
Monday.
Some actual YouTube handles that we can,
So nice.
Thank
I'm so happy.
goodness for that. Thank goodness for our members of the Supporters Club, too. Seeing some
Supporters
green.
Club.
I'm now a fresh member of the Supporters Club. Maybe you two slackers could
Maybe we can
take note over there.
Why would I give my own company money? That is
Hey,
not the way this is supposed
That's
to
a
work.
write-off, baby. Thank you to Eugene Ross, to Liam Stevens,
What up, Gene?
to Mom's grandchildren.
Hey,
Hello,
Mom.
Hello to Prophet One, Joaquin from Cherry Hill,
What up,
SB
Joaquin?
Cole, Music Lover 31,
Play that music.
Jess with the Purple Heart.
She's got the actual Purple Heart back.
She does.
Yeah.
We got Theo. We got Densley.
What up, Densley?
And it is Theo again after, I don't remember what his
Alpha Ted.
handle, something Ted for a while there. Hello to Jaden. Good to see you, Jaden.
What
Hope
up,
you are
Jay?
doing well. Who else we got? T. Smith, Dave P.
Dave.
Win forever.
Gotta win.
Marcus
Might
Blackstock.
as well.
Love to
What up,
Marcus
Mark?
as always. Igavini and Will. Evan Davis.
What up, Will?
What's up to Futz?
Gotta say that right.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I misheard that for
How
a
do you
second.
say it wrong?
No, you said it right. Just leave it there.
It's up to my girl Nona.
I heard it.
Hanging out in the chat. Hello to Nona. Jay the Jungle.
What?
Jesse Bond. Valhos.
Hey, Val.
Ah.
Bree, what are the poll results?
Yeah, what
that
were
you
the
had?
poll results so I can make
Little
sure to
Simmons.
never talk to some of these people ever again if they pick the
One was 54% and one was 46. Which do you guys think?
54
Took
was
it.
hell no.
No.
Really?
54 was Bring Back Ben.
Wow.
Comeback.
Yeah.
Look at that comeback.
Crazy.
Disgraceful. You guys are going to wear a scarlet letter for the rest of your lives.
There's a lot of people in that chat that like
it's
Troll and
FaZe-
Kyle.
It's
Yep.
a FaZe Clan logo. You guys all have to wear in the chat every single
The
time you come
comeback.
in here
Look
from
at
now
that.
on.
I'd love to know what percentage of those people are just trolling Kyle though, because it's not an insignificant amount for
That
sure.
is
Thank
very
you to
true.
Parrot Dad who said low risk to bring him back at the
Okay.
end.
All right,
Not
Parrot
for my
Dad.
sanity, it's not.
That is
Not
true.
for
Exactly.
my
That would just be a
sanity.
whole segment.
Exactly.
Let
Thank you to
Kyle go.
everyone who was here today,
Yeah.
especially you, who I'm talking to right now. Please, on the way out, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live.
That was aggressive.
Hit that supporters club so you can get special emojis and special name and announce your arrival in the chat and all sorts of other features.
Yes. Sign up.
And hit the thumbs up button to say thank you, super producer Bree, for holding it down on the other side of the show. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Until then, stay safe, take care of each other. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.